Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Chats with Chaudhry. I hope you're safe and well today. I'm delighted to be joined by former guests and repeat guests or offenders, if you like to call them that. Well, I've got Oliver Stauffer, who's CEO of PTI, which is Packaging Technologies Inspection, and Tatiana Simental, who's Managing Director of CCIT, which is Container Closure Integrity Testing. Because there's been some news announced this week that PTI are acquiring CCIT. So we thought we'd get Oliver and Tatiana together to find out a bit more about the acquisition, the reasons and rationales behind it, and also to use this opportunity to find out about some of the differences and similarities, if you like, on CCIT testing, both in North America and Europe. So first of all, Tatiana, Oliver, it's lovely to see you both. How are you?
Hi. How are
Pleasure
you?
to see you, Rizwan. Great to be back together again.
It's lovely to see you again. And so, Tatiana, you're calling in from Lucerne in Switzerland, correct?
Yes, exactly.
And
That's
Oliver,
where I am.
and you are calling in from, is it New Jersey or?
No, the headquarters in Hawthorne, New York.
New York,
Yeah.
It is New York, right? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. And you were supposed to be on vacation this week, I thought. So I'm glad you've actually just come into the office.
Yeah. I was hiding in the woods for a few days and just got out yesterday, so it was great.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm glad to see you both. Yeah. All right, so for those people, first of all, who are not familiar with the respective businesses, Tati, maybe you want to start, but can you give me a quick overview of CCIT? And then Oliver, again, can you give me a quick overview of PTI? So Tatiana, would you like to start, please?
Okay, thank you. Well, CCIT is a laboratory that is based in Saint-Preux, Switzerland, and we have all the technologies available from PTI. So basically what we do feasibility, proof of concept, different test method development using PTI technologies, and also we are the former distributors for Europe of these technologies. So our main thing is to provide support and solutions for all European markets that are interested in PTI technologies.
Fantastic. And Oliver, over to you about PTI then. Let's talk about your technologies as well.
Yeah, so PTI, we're a manufacturer of non-destructive container closure integrity test systems, or to put it simply, leak testing systems. And we've been doing that for 40 years, mostly serving the pharmaceutical industry, and we're distributing that equipment globally. So it's something that we specialize in leak testing for high-risk packaging.
Right. So let's ask the obvious question, though, first of all, is that obviously the news has been announced that you guys have acquired CCIT. Now, obviously, CCIT have had a long working relationship with you guys, distributing your technologies for many years. So why did you decide now was the time to acquire them, and what difference does it make in terms of the previous working relationship?
Yeah, so I think important to note. So it is technically an acquisition, but we're treating it like a merger. And the timing of it, I don't think there was really too much around the timing of this acquisition. It's something that we've had in the works for some time. We were just looking for the right opportunity to execute on it, and that I think finally came to fruition, where he said, "Hey, this is the right landscape, the right environment. Let's make it happen." So we brought the parties to the table and certainly moved forward with it. And I think it's really right now for North America, for Europe, it's really important for us to have a high level of client experience and touch points within the global market space. And CCIT is offering us a really great opportunity to expand that service that CCIT offers and to reach a much greater market space. So,
right. And from your perspective, Tatiana, what does the acquisition stroke merger mean to you as a business?
Well, for me, it will be like a huge opportunity for many stuff. Like, I think in the sense of research and development, we're going to have access to more things. And I think also about the feedback, like communication between what is happening in the market in Europe and say to the US. Like, this is what we see. Maybe we should innovate in this. So we're going to have a stronger relationship, a better communication, and probably more new features and new developments. So for me, I'm really excited. I think it's a great opportunity for us because we are really small. So enjoy the resources, human resources that they have to develop new things and to offer also new solutions and better solutions depending of the market needs. So I'm really excited about this.
Right. And so, So were you going to add anything there, Oliver?
Well, yeah, I think very important. So Tatiana mentioned, having this feedback, the market space in Europe is a very valuable market space in terms of the client base and the feedback that we get. We care deeply about that space and the opportunities that we have with clients there. And so as one company now, that information no longer feeds in through certain channels. It goes directly to the source where it needs to be heard. Right. The teams, the personnel are very tightly aligned with objectives. We have teams that now cross over into the Atlantic. So it makes it that much more efficient to get the information to where it needs to be, and for the team that needs to support that to be right there, right? So it really changes the game. Yeah.
Right, well, let's talk about some of the changes from a customer perspective, both in terms of existing customers of both businesses and also prospective customers for each business. What changes or difference will they see in the short term, if any? And also, how do you see that progressing as things go forward?
I think, a very simple illustration of how it would be is if I'm a client and I need some sort of support, I would send out an email to a single email address, and that would trigger a response out of both the European headquarters, the US headquarters. That Tiger team could then jump right on the issue and address it. And the sun basically never sets on PTI, and we're able to support clients in as far as India. Right. That right now for PTI is a time zone that can always be challenging, but for CCIT, it lines up with that market space much more effectively. So there's moments when a client needs something or there's some sort of support or information needed, and the network of people supporting that information is now much greater.
Right. What about from your point of view, Tatiana? Have you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think when Oliver was saying, we're going to short a little bit the time of response, meaning that, for example, before we need to wait a little bit more because we need to wait the PTI. Now we're going to have this direct channel communication, and we are targeting to short this time instead of, like, for example, we have it 72 hours to the 48 hours to get the feedback, or 24 hours to get the feedback to the customer to solve the problem that they are facing in case that there is any, or if they really need something immediately, we are targeting this with this merge or acquisition.
Fantastic. And what do you see sort of longer term, though, the benefits of the two businesses working closer together, being part of one business now?
Frankly, I think it's a matter of efficiency. Every member of this team is important and is needed for our mission, but certainly we know that there's efficiencies that we're going to be achieving very quickly. Long term, though, CCIT is the gateway into not just Europe, but the Middle East and Africa, and then it will, see how it can further support into the Asian market space. But it's a first step into becoming a much more global organization, and so that I think long term, this is a very important step for us to support the global market space.
Fantastic. Now, as I've got you both here, this is a great opportunity, I think, to talk a bit more about CCIT and the landscape, if you like, both in North America and Europe, but maybe even touch on other parts of the, obviously you just mentioned global there. So from a North American perspective, what is the sort of landscape, if you like, for CCIT, and what technologies are being used? And Tatiana, maybe you can touch on this once Oliver's finishes. Do you see a difference in Europe to what maybe Oliver talks about for North America? So Oliver, do you want to start and just talk about North America first?
Yeah, so here in North America, I mean, the FDA is really the 600-pound gorilla, and that's, that regulatory body is driving a lot of change globally, regardless where you are. But here in North America, that's the industry is answering to the changes in USP 1207 to move to more deterministic quantitative test methods. There's still other methods being used out there, but for the lion's share of CCI work, USP 1207 is pushing the industry to more deterministic test methods. So that's clear.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And Tatiana, is that the same then for Europe, or do you see it slightly different?
Well, I think it's I see two different perspective. I think the European perspective, it's a little bit more concerned about how to set up and have statistic results. but they don't have statistic methods that they use. For example, I have seen that the European industry still is blue dye based. And I can see also that there are a lot of inspectors trying to push the industry to move more to deterministic technologies, and their struggle. And we are trying to help them, to educate them, to provide the base that they can take any decision, but that the decision fit to their needs, and try to put a little bit out the blue dye and to go more to the deterministic and not destructive. I have been really concerned about this global warming, you know, and not destructive technology is save you money, but also save the environment. And we need to keep that in mind, that we really need to not sample preparation. It means that when we test, we test it and then we can release it. And this is a lot of, we save energy and we save money.
And you know, Tatiana says, you know, it saves waste and all of that just by routine testing. It absolutely does. But right now we're working on a project where we're helping a client. They have 100,000 units just sitting there because an inadequate method was used to check for quality. You know, the moment you use an inadequate method, you have inadequate information, and the risk is that they pursue something that is, you find out information much too late. And then all of a sudden you have a huge amount of product that you have to bring to the landfill. So that's definitely a very important part of PTI's mission. It's about getting people the right information when they need it, and making this world a better place through what we do best, right?
Mm-hmm. Just adding a little bit, you asked me about the difference. But for example, how we start, we needed to gain a little bit of land. You know, we arrived, we were new, no one knew it about us. And our main concern is how we'll bring quality and solutions to the customers. So with proof of concept, we invite them with demonstrations, and we invite them to come to CCIT to show them how we can develop. We don't just not sell a box, you know, here is box. No, we give you a test method that you can used and it's validated, and it doesn't matter in which machine you use it, it works. So the people, what we did with our customers, we earned their confidence and the trust through the results of our equipment. So this was our first strategy to get them, you know, like say, okay, send the samples, come here, and we show you the limit of detection, how far we can go, what we can do, and what we cannot do. So we have always been really honest of where we can go.
Perfect. Now, one question I was going to ask you is just talking about outside of North America and Europe then, would you say then that other regions, when you start going into Middle East or Asia, and I know Asia, when you talk about Asia is huge, and you talk about China, India, they're all different, and South Korea, you know, you start getting into those spare. But what is the landscape there then in terms of CCI testing? And you mentioned blue dye is still historically the place for Europe. So is that still the case then for those other regions as well?
So speaking globally, I think that is the case in other regions. Container closure integrity becomes important when you have a much, let's say, a very critical quality of life environment where, you know, just basic little failures of a container closure are no longer acceptable. The other matter is markets and spaces where there is some level of socialized medicine means that there will be much more advanced biologics or pharmaceutical manufacturing, and where that pharmaceutical manufacturing is occurring, that's where we can then step in and support, but that's where it's being regulated. So there are markets that are growing in terms of the pharmaceutical manufacturing. The regulation will eventually catch up, and at that point, improved testing will also become important.
For example, adding something about what Oliver says is, I have customers from Europe trying to sell the products in the Chinese market.
Right.
And they come back to me and say, you know, we tried to sell product in China, but they didn't accept our blue dye. Can you have something immediately? And that's when we start talking. Okay, explain me. But you can see this trend that the Chinese authorities are getting more serious and probably more severe, more concerned about blue dye.
Absolutely, yeah. China, I would say, is one of the fastest moving regulatory environments we've seen. And kudos to them. It's an environment that, you know, they're really developing a very strong pharmaceutical industry and healthcare environment. So that's great.
Oh, that's really well. Genuinely, this is really interesting to learn more about the landscape and how it's changing. So, do you think then, as you touched on a bit more, but a bit earlier, we just said about biologics and the growth of biologics, that that will now take up much bigger slice of the landscape? Because I know, you know, everybody talks about biologics, and you have to look at the amount of cell and gene cell and gene therapy events now coming out in the marketplace and so on, and it's very sexy at the moment to talk about it. But in a reality on the ground, you know, and you guys are actually on the ground doing this day to day. Have you seen though a shift though in terms of CCI testing, in terms of a rise in biologics being tested in that space or not?
So container closure integrity testing any product is dependent on the container itself and then the product contents. And so what we do find is that the blue dye test, or dye ingress, that is very commonly used in different markets, is far less effective as we are pursuing new container formats and product classes. So pre-filled syringes, the dye ingress test becomes extremely negligible or problematic. And then the moment you make it a viscous biologic product, it's also just not that good. So biologics have been a leading source for CCI testing, but basically any high-risk package format is going to be a candidate for an improved test protocol using a CCI methods that's deterministic. So,
for example, we have trying to get a few of our laboratory GMP laboratories, and I have trying to talk to them and say, yeah, well, we don't use deterministic methods. And say, what? How? And say, well, we have a validated blue dye test. And then I say, well, and how you do when you have alu and you cannot see what is the color that it dye? And you say, well, yeah, we need to open and do different methods. So you see that the European has a resistance to go to deterministic, but I think they're going into that direction. I see it more and more requests, and I think they want to have a double method. They're trying to say, okay, let's go slowly to a deterministic method, but we keep it on the side in case something change. We keep our blue dye, but it's moving. It's changing.
And look, Tatiana and me would love it if everyone all overnight just decided that this is the right approach. It makes sense. Take the time, be scientific about it, show the data, understand the methods that are there. But PTI, we are here with the methods. CCIT has the technologies, is delivering feasibility studies in a good laboratory practice environment, GLP environment, to get the clients the data to prove out what this stuff can do. So taking the time is, you know, early bird gets the worm, second mouse gets the cheese. It's important to take your time to get the information you need before moving forward. But PTI and CCIT, and now ultimately one company, PTI, we're absolutely ready to provide the support and the information so that people can make the right scientific choices as they move forward. That's very important. Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, so one final question, which you just touched on your statement there. So the new business combined, is it now just PTI, or is CCIT a sub-brand still of PTI?
So it's a CCIT is a PTI company, and it's going to be that way for some time. But and you know, we love the brand. It's a valuable brand for us. We think it's very important, but at the same time, it's healthier for us to eventually be under one name, one brand, and so that will eventually occur. We're not in a rush. It'll happen.
All right, fantastic. Look, it's lovely to see you both. Oliver, how the Mets going to do? Are they going to get to the World Series this year? That's the question I'm going to ask.
They're doing quite well.
They've got enough money now, so money's not an object, is it?
No, they're doing quite well. I've been to 2 games this season. It's been enjoyable, and it's great to see an underdog team coming out on top. So I'll see you in the World Series.
I look forward.
I said it here.
All right. I tell you, I don't understand. I know enough about Mexican football to ask you how your team's going to do this year in the new.
I really don't know. Since I'm living in Europe, I just lost all the game. So well, I hope they pass.
Well, hopefully Mexico make the World Cup as well. I'm not sure if they've made it or not.
I think they did.
All right,
Yes.
we'll look forward to seeing
Yeah.
them there anyway. Well, look, it's lovely seeing you both. Good luck with the new business, which is really the old business coming together anyway. But
Yeah.
good luck with that, and good luck with the summer. One final question, actually, as I've got you both here. Where can people meet PTI in North America, Oliver, and where can people meet PTI in Europe over the next few months? Because I know you've got shows coming up that you'll be attending.
Yeah, so we've got some big shows. Tatiana, we have Akima is coming next,
in
right?
Frankfurt. Yes, exactly.
That's a very big one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have PAC Expo Chicago this year. PTI has 2 booths there, one over in the Pharma Hall, one in the main hall. And that's also a great opportunity, great space. So those are the 2 main places to find us in person. And then otherwise, you can go to PTIUSA.com, which will very shortly become PTI-CCIT.com. It's no longer going to be USA. We're a global company. We have been that for quite some time. So it'll be very nice to drop the USA from our URL because we're global.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, it's lovely to see you both anyway. Enjoy a lovely summer, and hopefully I'll see you both at Akima with them, so I'm planning to be there as well. And we can do hopefully a live interview from there as well, so people can see the products in person as well. So thank you very much. Looking off, so good luck again with the acquisition. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
And thank you, viewers. Until next time, as always, stay well and stay safe. Bye-bye.